Greetings everyone, here's Lodrick and this is the game War in the Pacific Advanced Edition. This is my play by email match number 2 against KilRoy. This is scenario 1 with the new beta 27, or version 27 beta. I'm still more or less already loading and unloading more equipment in Malaya. Only try to get more forces to into Mersing. And there are also some Dutch subs, I think, hunting for my carriers. But at least today this attack failed. But also no heavy damage or no damage at all. Even if they are here in shallow water. Means Japanese equipment is really not so good for sub hunting. Some night bombardments, but no effect. And my destroyer I think will go soon down. Here's one more destroyer getting hit by a torpedo and sink. So, and this is the second destroyer going down. So KilRoy's destroyer submarines are really killing my destroyers in this game. The amount of equipment I lose is far too high. But okay, it's also the first weeks. On the other hand, his air force did nearly nothing. So only lost 3 submarines by mines and lost I think 2 destroyers by surface engagement and 2 destroyers by submarines. Yeah. At least I can rebuild destroyers over time. Heavy cruisers I can never rebuild. Good, here's a patrol boat finding this AK and Porta Princesa. Only more or less to make sure that there's no activity in the future. So if I keep here the patrol boat, then the port is closed. There's more, but they will normally not engage each other. No activity here. And no Navy engagement. Okay. Many reported submarines and task forces. I'm only a little worried about if my carriers will send out some airstrikes or if they're holding back for whatever reasons. And now I sweep Patan. There are still 2 Warhawks. And at least one dead. Typical bombardment in China. A sweep over Singapore, and okay, there are still 11 buffaloes. British buffaloes now here. And the buffaloes are diving on my Oscars, so they have first the altitude advantage, but even that will not save them. I come lower so they can dive on me, but I have in 15,000 the maximum maneuver bonus, and my pilots are. These are normally the best army pilots together with the Tojo pilots. So at the beginning of the war, these are the two elite wings for the army. Clark Field have no escort, no cap fighter more. So the Dutch Air Force scouted my carriers again. Help here. Slow down the Chinese forces trying to enter Canton. Still some British attacks is burning some of my supplies. And no airstrike at all. So all of this aircraft scoutings, missions, but later on no attack. I find here a big AS, so assistant submarine tender. When I can get a torpedo hit here, this maybe will not sink, but at least slow it down. Of course, it can enter maybe port of Pearl Harbor, but maybe there's a follow-up attack. Here was a little engagement, but nothing really happens. It's only really that the Allies, they cannot use this port more. One shell left, but this will not change anything. Two small guns, here's a Japanese division forcing the Chinese out. So the Chinese dropping back direction of Wenchao. Again, some casualties on my side, but mostly one disabled. And here's also the last block force. They're jumping, crossing the river, but most important, the highway is now open. Good. And also here my Mongolian army is now ready to bring peace, order and justice in this northern China area and start to clean up all of this Chinese forces. They dig in maybe a little, so not so easy. I must first break the morale. But yeah. Today they hold the line, but I think not much longer. And same in Mindanao. The Filipinos surrender, they have no way to retreat more. Because this base already switched to Japanese control, so there was really no base I think they can run away more. So they give up. This will of course save some time for me. So this has the 2 units out of Rabu still survive. And they're both retreating. Still won't give up. But maybe there's really only now disabled squads, 1 or 2 left. So also very empty. The same here in the north. The allies are retreating, but I don't know more what is inside. I don't know why they don't give up. And in Malaya, this is now allied. These are cut forces, so KilRoy have no other choice. He can attack or he can wait, or he try to attack and see how strong I am, and of course this have no... Even if my block forces are not strong, but the British are simply even weaker. Some bombardment here in the south. And the next attack on Guam.
Hello, my misguided friends. This is your #1 enemy, Orphan Anne, from Radio Tokyo, with another blow to your morale and some music to console you. Today, the Imperial government announced that the ever-victorious forces of the Japanese Empire have captured Guam.
So, finally, Guam fall, and now the base force is destroyed. Well, was time. Still not maybe the best turn, but mainly because of, I don't know why my airstrikes won't go, and I lost one more destroyer. I mean, I expected the one destroyer. This was already a loss from last turn. This submarine attack was additional losses. I really don't like so much, but no one can change this. At the end, air losses 9-1. This is still okay. Buffalo's getting destroyed, some Warhawks getting destroyed, and a lot of Catalinas lost. I mean, 3. And for me, it's an L bomber. But why the Navy bombers won't fly if they can detect all of these cargo ships? I don't know. Ship sunk. So last turn, I lost one more fleet destroyer, and this is even a better one with 2,000 ton. This is Fubuki. It's a Fubuki one. Yeah. The only downside of the Fubukis is that their range is limited. So the Fubukis are the oldest, or the first heavy destroyer class, I think, or first modern destroyer anyone built ever. Before you normally have this split between destroyers for anti-torpedo boat duty, so a lot of guns, or you have more or less torpedo boat destroyers with a lot of torpedoes on them for anti-cruiser missions. But the Fubukis more or less, they try to put this all together. So you have heavy guns plus a lot of torpedoes and good speed and acceptable range. Then later, of course, the Allies, they complain about this and say, no, you cannot build something like so heavy, 2,000 tons, those destroyers cannot build like this. You must make a new law, only 1,500 tons. So the Japanese later on, so even if these are older ships, the next generations are all smaller, but only because Americans and British forced them for this. Good. Anyway, for losing a Fubuki, it's bad. I think the Japanese have only 3x8, Fubuki 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if it's 6 or 8 each batch. Yeah. And happened. The other, this is only support destroyer, much smaller, and I will not care so much. The Allies have official lost no ship. And I also hear no sinking sound, so the AS, this is a big ship near of Pearl Harbor. This one, maybe I can get a follow-up attack, or this ship will simply sink over time. Because it's still a little distance to Pearl Harbor, I'm not sure. Yeah. There's still many ships here around. We'll see. Good. In China, nothing big crazy happens. My forces arrive here, so I can now start to clean up. But I never use this Chinese forces to attack. These are really only garrison units, so I don't even try to attack with them, because I need the attack value to my garrison. They simply don't give any attack bonus, so I never use them for active cleaning operations. So only the Japanese units attacking, and the Chinese units are holding back to later take over my garrison, and that is fine. Even if it's the most shitty equipment, morale, experience unit, if they have AV, they can make garrison. You know, in China, police is, I think, the worst enemy you can have, or the worst friend. They always try to help you and only ask for some compensation. Not only in China, of course. This also happens in many countries. So, nothing else happened here. The highway is now open. Okay, that is maybe good. And I also try to open here this highway east-west. There are still some forces trying to fall back, maybe here to this hex. But I have a new army. This is even with overall headquarter support. So I always try one army, have one headquarter, and then depending how many support units we will give them. But this is normally what you always need, at least one army HQ. So if you strike with something, I always try, if it's not something very remotely, to have one HQ working with the units. And if possible, I also try to only use full divisions. If it's always possible, I try to create divisions, and I only normally try to use divisions to attack. And everything what is not a division, I normally hold back in cities for garrison, or I send them back to Manchukuo, because in Manchukuo there are so many divisions, but you cannot take them out simply because there's this garrison request. So if I send units from China back to Manchukuo, I get additional garrison, and then I can take full divisions out of Manchukuo to really fight in China. I think this is, in the long run, better efficiency. Because for one division you need only one good commander. If you have your many broken mixed brigades, then they all have commanders that are not so good, so you can change many commanders, and still concentration of forces is normally more powerful than many smaller broken pieces, but depending how big is the area you want to fight. Here is only, again, if you play this game, you must always make sure that the raid finding is correct. In this game, there was a mistake. I think I tell my forces to walk to Moolmine before I saw this unit. And then the units, more or less, they crossing the river here because they want to cross the river here because they want to avoid this unit, because I gave them the order to walk to Moolmine. So normally, I had to give them the order. Walk first here, walk this hex, then fight with this unit, and then maybe walk here, fight again with the unit. You cannot really give them the final destination point. You must always make sure that the path is clean or free if you want a long walk command. Or you must really make hex by hex by hex by hex. Malaya, it's really now first clean up. I need more time. I entered Georgetown. This attack of the British failed, so they're weak. I can counterattack. Johor Bahru is conquered, so I can, here's an airport, I can create here one more airport. I must clear still here some mines. I lost here one destroyer, yeah, but this I cannot really change. I think it was together here with, this is the other Fubuki, this is Fubuki 2. The Fubuki 1, 2 and 3, they differ only in the main turrets. You can see, I think Fubuki 1 have a A turret. A turret is a purpose, only surface gun only. And the B turret is a dual purpose. You always have your this star at the end of the number, then it's called, means dual purpose. Can engage air targets, can engage surface targets. So this is dual. But I don't know where I have now the other destroyers to compare this. This is also all dual. They have all the same turret. There's also the C-class turret, but I think the C-class turret only have other fighting values. Here, this is Fubuki 1. Fubuki 1 have the A turret, and the A turret you can see have no anti-aircraft ability. So the anti-aircraft ability is very low for these Fubukis. I mean, and this is I would say that maybe this anti-aircraft in this game is in favor for the Japanese, because in reality this kind of gun have nearly no impact for anti-aircraft. The rate of fire is simply too slow, and you, even if you have the gun, this kind of gun, these heavy guns, they need normally always something to find the range. You must have range finders equipment, and the Japanese completely lack this kind of equipment, at least for destroyers, and what they have was very terrible. And so you have a good gun, but you don't find the target. The aircraft is moving fast and changing altitude, so this is really a big difference. So, but if you upgrade this Fubuki once, you can see the first thing that is already at the beginning of the war, the Japanese realize, okay, give them the better turrets. So in this game you get immediately a big boost for anti-aircraft for these guns. So the Fubuki ones you must upgrade. You can also see that the Fubuki 1 have no anti-submarine equipment here originally, and you get here, this I don't know why, they upgrade these ships with this shitty shallow water equipment. First, the next upgrade in 43 you get the deep water equipment, but first in 44 you have the deep water killer equipment. This is the first equipment is really good enough to kill a submarine everywhere if you hit it. Good. And there's also a final, but I think the B turrets they always keep. I think the Fubuki 3, I think they have the C turrets. I'm not so really sure what they're changing, because in reality I think the C turrets, they are middle more light, because these ships are normally too heavy for the size of it. Good. Anyway, luckily this game will not make it too complicated, because this is really much more simple. It's a game at the end. So my carriers are here. I detect all of these ships, but maybe the commander decides they are not have enough value, so they don't want attack. Okay. I also try normally to lure out the Dutch Air Force here to maybe get a little more kills. What KilRoy lose on airplanes now, he cannot let us throw on my invasion fleets if I come in some weeks. And my broken forces, this are my 2 destroyers I pick up, and it looks like they are now fine. You can see no fire more, and the rest is okay. So these 2 destroyers, they are both only second class destroyers, but I can save them both. Okay, at least one good news. And my battle, this is my light cruisers with the collision damage. Because he has so many cargo ships, maybe I will give them the order to simply walk here in and maybe finish his cargoes, because they are just there nearby. In Philippines, Mindanao looks already very nice, nearly done. There was one these are all broken forces. They retreated, so I must catch them. But I also corner here some American forces. If I'm lucky, I can finish the American presence in Mindanao more or less in 2 or 3 turns completely. And then I have now 3,000, nearly 3,500 attack value in Clarkfield. So I make the decision to first focus all for Clarkfield and not go for Manila first, because I think it's, if I have the opportunity to attack so fast and quickly, I can do it. This is only additional forces. They're coming in to create the 25th, 56th division. If I could, but there's some broken units still here in Palau Islands. Okay, so I cannot really create the division. Okay, yeah, there was, I think, last time I forgot. I don't know if I show this. Here, this is the torpedo hit, because maybe some people, they say, there was a torpedo hit. So this is this torpedo bomber attack on my battle cruiser. Some flotation damage, but nothing really, not enough to sink a ship. Not this kind of ship. Good. As anything else in Rabaul, only kick the Australians again and unloading more equipment to build up here the airbase and the port, and then later on continue with bringing peace. Guam also finally is done. There's also some now resources in light industry, so it's not for nothing, but only there's no supplies. So I was hoping maybe, I don't know if the game starts with a lot of supplies in Guam, but looks like not. Yeah. And at the same time, I already ship a lot of oil and resources from the north of Japan to the main island, and also from Korea, Port Arthur, and from Fusan is also, this is very, you can ship all these resources out of Manchukuo to Japan, so that I keep roughly the resources at least over 1 million. This is the minimum. You must keep over 1 million resources here in Tokyo. Then you know it is okay. And normally also at least 100,000 supplies in Tokyo. Then you know it is okay. And the rest is first upgrading normal engines every day, what is possible. Aircraft, I normally only push for more Zeros and more Oscars and nothing else. The rest I keep. So long I don't have high losses, I don't must produce more airframes. And R&D is coming slowly but steadily, but this needs long time to really see here anything. And I also don't must change here anything. But then see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.